Hello YouTube, this is an official beginner's guide for Whizzbang. For those who don't know what Whizzbang is essentially a Roblox game where you defend a trench, which is set, the time period is set in World War I, and you defend a trench against enemy waves of AI Germans. These enemy waves are endless, so they go on forever. There are 7 classes you can choose from in-game: Rifleman, Automatic, Artillery, Engineer, Officer, Medic, and Sharpshooter, but I will be getting into those classes later. Before this video starts, I just want to let you know that some weapons have abbreviations in the inventory, such as the Lee or the Lee Enfield, or other weapons as well apply for this. Some weapons do not have abbreviations though, such as the shovel. But anyways, this will not be covering mobile and only PC, so if you're a mobile player, try and follow along with the controls, such as holding down H. If I say hold down H, just hold down the button that's there whenever you're at that certain point in time, or I'm at the ready, I'm about to fire, so just hold down this button in order to get to the loading stage. Anyways, and this is also not only for beginners. Everyone of experience can use this video, as I'm going to be covering tips and tricks that you can do that you might have not known about. So yes, and without another way, let's get straight into the video. One thing I forgot to mention was tanks. I forgot what wave they come on, but it's usually around wave 20. To destroy tanks, you use Rifleman's grenades, or you can use artillery as well. You can also go behind tanks and plant bombs on them. Alright, the first class that you start off is the Rifleman. The Rifleman is equipped with a Lee, a shovel, a mill, and a lantern. By the way, I'm not saying the full words of the weapons, so you're just gonna have to figure that out on your own time. I'm very sorry. The Lee is able to fire 10 bullets before you have to reload. In order to fire the Lee, whenever you spawn in, you want to hold down the L button. Then you want to hold down H. Then you want to hold down F, and you are able to fire by left clicking. You can then hold down H and click F again, or hold down F to fire another bullet. Once you run out of bullets and are unable to fire any more bullets, you can hold down L to load again. The next weapon I want to cover is the shovel. The shovel is a melee weapon. You just click to swing it. I don't know exactly how much damage it does, but it usually 2 shots or 1 shots the enemy, depending on which one you're facing. And the last weapon is the mill. It's a grenade. You can left click to throw the grenade, and it will explode after a certain amount of time. I think this grenade though glitched. Oh, never mind. I just killed my own teammate. Anyways. Some tips and tricks I would suggest using or following along with is use the grenade throw the grenade while in your own trench while the enemy's invading your trench. This makes it much more easier to get kills, and the enemy is in an enclosed area, which is, like I said, very easy to get kills. Another tip I have to suggest for you guys is aim for the head. Aiming for the head usually kills the enemy. I think aiming for the chest does the same amount of damage. I'm not entirely sure, but usually aiming for the head can kill most enemies with just one single bullet. So yeah, just aim for the head. Use your grenades. With that out of the way, let's move on to the next class. The automatic class is equipped with a cow, a mace, and a lantern. The cow is, you hold down L to load it. It has the slowest reloading time in the game, so just keep that in mind. Hold down H, hold down F, and then you're able to fire. By spam clicking or just left clicking multiple times in a row, you're able to fire off 14 bullets. And yes, I did count that. Once you're done firing, you just repeat the process of loading, holding H, holding F, and firing again. The mace can be used by left clicking. It 1 shots or 2 shots most enemies, kind of like the shovel does. And other than that, also stay in your trench. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, but please stay in your trench. Don't go out of your trench. There are exceptions for this, but please just try and stay in your trench. Some tips and tricks that I have for the automatic is that enemy sharpshooters are very easy to take down. So if you do see one, try and take them down as quickly as possible, because they are very easy to take down as an automatic. And other than that, there's not a lot to say for this automatic class. So moving on to the next class, which is the next class on the list is Engineer. He can hold 4 rounds by clicking load or holding down L continuously. You can load 4 rounds. You then hold down H and then hold down F, and you're able to fire that. You can then hold down H again, hold down F, and like I said, you have 4 bullets, so use them wisely. You have something called the wire spool tool. It can be used to lay down barbed wire. You also have something called the wrench. It can be used to heal barbed wire if it gets trampled on, and it can also be used to slam your enemies in the face. Some tips and tricks I have for the Engineer is try and place your barbed wire in front of these little areas, like this or this, where your teammates can stand on, because that's usually where the enemy's going to be coming through. And also, please, if you have the opportunity, fix your barbed wire. I see tons of barbed wire always going unnoticed that's been trampled on, so please, if you can, fix it. And other than that, I don't really have a lot of tips to say, so on to the next class. Alright, the next class on the list is Artillery. He's equipped with a shell, a club, and a lantern. All classes are equipped with a lantern, so that's why I haven't been mentioning on some classes. Anyways, whenever you spawn in, you can climb a ladder to get out of your trench, or one of the ladders that are in the trenches, to get out of the trench and get to the cannons. To load a cannon, you first have to open this compartment thing. I don't know what this is called, but you just open it, load in the shell, close it, and you're able to fire it by holding F on the firing handle. You can aim at the back of the artillery cannon using the three aiming modes are low, mid, and high, but they go backwards for some reason because the dev made it like that. The low mode usually gets a very close shot to your trench, so if enemies are right on top of your trench, you usually want to use the aiming, or you usually want to be aiming low. If the enemies are like midway, like they're like in like automatic firing range, like the automatic class firing range, you probably want to aim mid. And if the wave just started, you probably want to aim high. And also, please, one thing I had to say: do not fire if you cannot see the enemy. I will legitimately get down on my knees and start begging for you to not fire artillery when you don't see the enemy, because there's too many people that just do it. Just don't fire if you can't see the enemy. I beg. The artilleryman is also equipped with a club. It does high amounts of damage. Also, some tips and tricks that I have for artillery is if you're at nighttime, just fire into nothingness. I really don't care, because it's very hard to see the enemy at night. So just fire. And if you can't even see the enemy, just try and fire, because it is very hard to see the enemy. And if you're just randomly firing, you'll most likely hit something. And with that out of the way, let's move on to the next class. The next class on the list is the Officer. He's equipped with a web, a saber, and a lantern. I'm gonna be honest, Officer is probably the most useless class in the game. You hold L to load, and you can load 5 rounds into the chamber. Then from here, you can either hold down H and you can rapid fire, or you can hold down F and go into a much slower firing mode. The best mode is probably the rapid firing mode. In order to do the rapid firing mode, or I guess fire in the rapid firing mode, you just straight up hold or left click. From here, you can either, like I said, hold down F and go into a much slower firing mode, which is much more accurate, or hold down H and load your gun again. Anyways, if you're going into the much slower firing mode and you hold down F, you fire, hold down H, hold down F, fire again, and then once you run out of bullets, you reload. Very simple, very simple, I mean. So yeah, anyways, next weapon is the saber. It's a very good melee weapon, probably one of the best melee weapons in the game. That doesn't make an Officer any more useful. Most melee weapons in the game are already decent, but I think this one's probably the best melee weapon in the game. Anyways, some tips that I have for Officer. It's not really a lot of tips, actually. I guess wait for the enemy to get close. With that out of the way, let's move on to the next class. The next class on the list is the Sharpshooter. He's equipped with a spring, a dagger, and a lantern. He's probably my favorite class. In order to load, well, you hold down L, then you click H, then you can click F, and you only have one bullet, so once you fire you do have to load again. But this is something only on PC. I don't know if this has been added to mobile yet at the time of recording this or uploading this, but you can hold down right click to zoom in, and where the vertical line meets with the horizontal line is usually where you want to be aiming. That's usually like where the bullet's gonna go. So yeah, some tips and tricks that I have with the Sharpshooter is aim for the head always. Anyways, the next weapon that the Sharpshooter has is the dagger. I believe the dagger is the only weapon that two classes have, which is the medic. I'll get onto that later. But anyways, aim for the head. You usually also want to stay in the back lines. You don't want to be up in the front lines because you usually die more easily. It's also much harder to hit shots. Another thing I want to say about Sharpshooter is whenever it's nighttime, it's a little more tricky to aim, but if you play Sharpshooter enough, you're able to aim much easier, or have an easier time aiming at nighttime. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get into the next class. The last class on the list is the medic. He's equipped with a dagger, a med pack, and a lantern. In order to heal people, you first click or tap with the med pack. If you're on mobile, you tap. If you're on PC, you click. You then get a hinge. You can stick this in people, and it will heal them. Some things you want to look out for a medic is green people. That means they are diseased, and they have to get healed by the hinge in order to not be diseased, and they will also lose health over time if they are diseased. People also can be wounded. If they have like red limbs, they are usually wounded, and they will start bleeding out and eventually lose all their health. And yes, you do have to aim your hinge at those wounded limbs. People that are black or like had the black color on them means that they've been burned and they have burning wounds, so you need to heal them, because I think they also bleed out and die eventually. Also, if people are diseased, you don't have to aim your hinge at their wounded limbs or anything. You can just stick the hinge in them. Also, the hinges automatically go into them. Sorry, I didn't mention that earlier. And other than that, I don't really have a lot of things to say. Occasionally, though, you do want to check our artillerymen. Occasionally, you don't have to do it all the time. Occasionally, you do want to check out an artilleryman because they could be diseased or hit by a random bullet. So yeah, and I think other than that, not a lot else to say, but except for left click to use your dagger. I know this video kind of seemed boring. I'm very sorry. I don't have a script I'm going off of. I'm going completely off my head. It's also very late at night for me, so I'm very sorry that this video seemed boring. I hope this was helpful to y'all out there that needed help on this game, or just overall wanted to improve. And with that out of the way, I guess I'll see you in the next one if I do a next one. Peace.